Happy Friday, ICS community. My name is Julie Allen. I'm the principal and CEO here at the International Community School, bringing you a quick update about standards-based grading. We've been working on this for about 6 months, although this may be the first time that you're hearing about it because this is our first progress report of the year. So I wanted to share just for a few minutes about why are we doing this? Why are we switching to standards-based grading? There's so much happening in the world. Why are we doing this? There's a lot of really powerful reasons why, so I want to share them with you. And then Ms. Frazier, our grades 3 through 5 assistant principal, is going to share with you the what. What standards are we grading? What will the progress reports look like? What can I expect? So the first thing is we want our grades to have meaning. We don't just want them to be A, B, C, D, and you say, oh, that's great, and you put the paper away. We want the grades to have meaning. So I'm going to share a little bit about what that means. First of all, we need to prioritize the essential learnings. So rather than trying to teach everything across the whole year as if everything is the most important thing, we know that some things are more important than others. For example, in 3rd grade, multiplication is what we would consider an essential standard. It doesn't get taught in 4th grade. They move on to division. And so you have to master multiplication, the concepts of multiplication in 3rd grade. You don't get it again. And so it's really, really important that we're very closely monitoring to what extent kiddos have mastered that standard. Whereas other standards might get spiraled over time from 1st through 3rd grade, for example, or from 3rd through 5th grade, or even up into middle school. And those standards we can keep an eye on, but it's not as crucial that we make sure every child has mastered every single standard as it would be for something like multiplication in 3rd grade. So that's the first thing, is that our team has taken all of the standards that Georgia requires public schools to teach, and we've honed them down to make sure that while we're going to teach everything through our IB curriculum, we're going to be tracking and communicating you more closely on these essential standards. And so the teams have already done that in the spring, determined which standards are essential for each grade level for reading and math. And now they've already started teaching them, pacing them out, and measuring students' performance towards them. And that takes me to my next point. Upgrading should be a communication tool. Rather than just being on the receiving end of a report card with some letters on it, we want you to be able to understand where are your children in terms of being able to master certain standards or certain learning goals. So it'll hopefully increase communication because you can see, ooh, on this standard, my child is exceeding the expectation. But on this standard, they're still approaching. They may need more support. What can I do to support? Or, oh, this one hasn't been assessed yet. So that means they're probably not there in the curriculum yet. And what it allows us to do as a school, like that picture on the right, there are 2 check boxes and then the 3rd check box is empty. When we can see exactly which standards which kids need to work on, we can group them and make sure we're filling in that 3rd check box and helping those particular kiddos to learn that standard, whereas not everyone might need the same thing. So it allows us to differentiate and to communicate better with you about where kids are. The other thing we're hoping that it does is that we really are choosing our assignments more intentionally to either align to those essential standards and make sure kids are practicing those essential standards, and we're not just using like busy work or things that we've always done, but we're really determining why are we giving this particular assignment? What are we hoping that the kids learn from it? Or it's an assignment where we're gathering information about, okay, I've taught some things. What have they learned? Where are they? Are some still approaching? Have some mastered? Are some even exceeding? They've been exposed in some other area of life to this standard and they don't really need me to go in depth on it. They might be better served learning something else right now that they haven't mastered. So that's the other point, is hopefully our assignments will become more and more intentional and lead to that essential learning. Another bonus of standards-based grading is that it minimizes bias. So sometimes students may, for one reason or another, appear not to have that drive, have that motivation, right? And so sometimes we're tempted to just say, well, you didn't try it, you didn't turn it in, you lost it at home, you didn't do your homework, you get a 0 or an F or a lower grade for that, right? But that doesn't really tell us anything about what they know in terms of that standard. We just kind of shrug it off and say, well, they didn't do it, right? And so what we want to do is really make assignments that tell us, did the child understand it or did they not? To what extent did they understand it? Because then that informs our practice and we can help them better to get to the next level if we have that information, and it minimizes that bias that comes with kids who may be late to school or may have a hard time getting homework completed at home for various reasons, who may not have the executive functioning skills or the organizational skills to keep all their papers together and get them all in on time at that exact moment. So it minimizes bias and really focus the grading on learning. A couple things you should be aware of just with standards-based grading is that not all the standards have been assessed or taught in the first 6 to 9 weeks. So on your first progress report, you might see a lot of like not assessed yet. And that just means we've only had 6 weeks. We just started a brand new school year in a very unusual year. So they may have only gotten to a couple of those essential standards so far. But by the end of the year, by mid-year, you should see most of those completed and filled out, and you should see your child start to move from approaching into mastery, from mastery into exceeding. The second thing to be aware of is not all subjects are represented on this first progress report. Our priority for the first progress report was making sure that reading and math are captured here. By December, we'll add in our languages, we'll add in our gifted, we'll add in our ESOL, we'll add in our social studies science project work. But we really wanted to make sure we got our reading and math first and taught our teachers how to do it and give you a chance to see what it looks like before we add on the other subjects. So those are coming. And then the third thing to be aware of is that MAP assessments are happening right now, which is a nationally norm referenced assessment that we're conducting. And so that will be an additional piece of information that we can use to talk with you and to make groups to help our students learn even more. So that is coming, and that'll be done early November. And then if you have questions after you get those MAP test results and you get your progress report and maybe something doesn't look right or you're not quite understanding the connection, or maybe you just want to know what you can do at home to help your child, you're more than welcome to reach out to your teacher and schedule a time to chat with them. We're more than happy to help you. So that's it. That's my quick overview. Thank you for hanging with us. We know this is an extremely unusual time. It seems like the whole world has stopped around us, but we are not going to stop innovating and trying to improve the experience for students and staff and for all of you here at ICS. So thank you for being with us on this journey and embracing the change. Please give us feedback about what you like, what we could improve, and hopefully I will see you all soon. Bye.